procedures. The confirmation, shared with Page 6, named Dr. Stephen Levine as the surgeon responsible. Observant fans were quick to point out that Kris's new look closely resembles the faces of her daughters, Kim, Kourtney, and Khloe, fueling conversations.
So Kim Kardashian just dropped some major tea about her mom's latest cosmetic procedures, and honestly, the internet is losing it. We're talking about Kris Jenner, the woman who literally built an empire on carefully managing her family's image, and her own daughter just casually revealed what she's been getting done. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't the first time the Kardashians have been surprisingly open about going under the knife, and what Kim said might actually reveal way more about their family dynamics than just some Botox appointments. Let's rewind for a second. Kris Jenner is 69 years old, and look, we all know she doesn't look anywhere near that age. For years, people have speculated about what work she's had done. And Kris has always been pretty strategic about what she admits to and what she keeps private. She's talked about facelifts before. Back in 2011, she literally filmed her facelift procedure for Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That was a whole moment because at the time, most celebrities were still pretending they woke up looking flawless.
1 year ago, Kris Jenner looked like this. Today she looks like this. How did that happen? Well, I'm a real plastic surgeon who does a lot of facelifts and facial cosmetic surgery. Let's break it down.
But Kris went on camera, showed the whole process, and basically normalized the conversation around cosmetic surgery for her audience. Fast forward to now, and Kim apparently decided to share some updates that Kris maybe wasn't planning to announce herself. During a recent episode of The Kardashians on Hulu, Kim was talking about her mom's appearance, and she mentioned that Kris had gotten some new work done. She didn't go into massive detail, but she referenced procedures around Kris's face and neck area. Kim said something along the lines of her mom looking amazing and crediting specific treatments she'd recently had. The exact wording was pretty casual, like she was just complimenting her mom's outfit or something. Now, what makes this whole situation kind of fascinating is how Kris reacted. According to sources close to the family, Kris wasn't exactly thrilled that Kim shared this information so publicly. There are reports that Kris prefers to control the narrative around her appearance, which makes total sense given that she's literally a manager and has spent decades crafting public perception for her entire family.
Now this is fascinating because we're looking at combined millions of dollars of plastic surgery, Botox, and fillers here. And I don't care if somebody wants to have work done or they don't want to have work done. That's immaterial here.
She's the one who decides what gets shown on their reality show and what stays private. So having Kim just casually mention her procedures probably wasn't part of the plan. Let's talk about what Kris has actually admitted to over the years, because it's actually a pretty long list. Besides that facelift in 2011, she's been open about getting Botox and fillers regularly. In a 2012 interview with Life & Style magazine, she talked about getting laser treatments and how she sees cosmetic procedures as part of her regular maintenance routine, kind of like going to the gym or getting her hair done. She's also mentioned having her neck done, which is something a lot of people don't talk about as openly. Neck lifts and neck tightening procedures are super common among women in their 60s, but there's still this weird stigma around admitting to them. The thing about the Kardashian-Jenner family is that they've always had this contradictory relationship with cosmetic surgery.
I believe there are 4 keys to her amazing new appearance, and the first one is, not surprisingly, that she appears to have had a lower facelift. This is an operation that tightens up the lower face and the neck, improving jowls and the neckline.
On one hand, they've normalized it and talked about it more openly than most celebrities. Khloe has discussed her nose job. Kylie finally admitted to getting lip fillers after years of claiming it was just overlining. Kim has been pretty upfront about using lasers and skincare treatments, though she's been more cagey about surgical procedures. But on the other hand, there's still this element of control. They want to be the ones deciding when and how to reveal information. And they definitely don't want people speculating that they've had more work done than they're willing to admit to. There's also this generational difference in how they approach it. Kris came from an era where admitting to plastic surgery could tank your career. When she was younger, the whole beauty standard was about looking naturally perfect. And if you got work done, you were supposed to pretend it never happened. But her daughters grew up in a completely different time. For them, getting filler or Botox is as normal as getting a manicure.
Kris Jenner's representative has confirmed that the 69-year-old underwent plastic surgery, finally addressing the buzz surrounding her noticeably refreshed appearance during her recent trip to Paris.
The shame around it has mostly disappeared in their generation, especially in LA, where basically everyone has had something done by the time they're 25. So when Kim casually mentions her mom's new procedures, she probably genuinely didn't think it was a big deal. To her, it's just a compliment about how good Kris looks. But to Kris, it might feel like losing control over her own narrative, which is something she spent her entire career maintaining. This is the woman who turned her family into a billion-dollar brand. Every single detail is calculated, every reveal is strategic. So having your daughter spill information you weren't ready to share publicly has got to be frustrating. Now, let's talk about what procedures Kim was likely referring to, because based on what beauty experts and plastic surgeons have said online, there are a few possibilities. Some doctors who've analyzed recent photos of Kris have speculated that she might have had another facelift or a mini facelift, which is less invasive than a full procedure but still tightens everything up.
They have the means to do it. If it makes them happy, great. But don't judge yourself on this kind of standard because it's not a real standard. This is all artificially made. This is done in the hands of plastic surgeons and dermatologists.
There's also talk about neck liposuction or a neck lift, because her jawline looks significantly more defined in recent appearances compared to photos from even just a year ago. Then there are the non-surgical options that Kris probably gets regularly. Things like ultherapy, which uses ultrasound to tighten skin, or radiofrequency treatments that stimulate collagen production. There's also the possibility of thread lifts, which are these dissolvable sutures that lift and tighten skin without actual surgery. Dr. Gary Linkoff, a facial plastic surgeon who does analysis videos on YouTube, looked at recent photos of Kris and pointed out that her face has that slightly tighter appearance that comes from combining multiple procedures rather than just one major surgery. What's interesting is that Kris has actually been pretty transparent about her philosophy on aging. In multiple interviews, she said that she doesn't believe in aging gracefully. She's literally said, "I don't plan on aging gracefully. I plan on fighting it every step of the way." And honestly, you kind of have to respect that level of honesty. She's not pretending she's just blessed with good genes.
That really is the only explanation for a change this dramatic. But it does create scars, and those scars typically start at the top of the ear, they go in front of the ear, behind the ear, and across.
She's openly saying that she's willing to do whatever it takes to look younger, and she has the money and resources to make it happen. But there's also this pressure that comes with being in that family. When you're surrounded by daughters who are all in their 20s, 30s, and early 40s, and they all look incredibly young and polished, there's probably this constant awareness of aging. Kris has talked before about feeling like she needs to keep up with her daughters, not just in terms of how she looks, but also in terms of staying relevant and current. She's managing their careers, but she's also kind of competing in the same space they are, appearing on their show and at their events and in their social media content. The Kardashians have also faced criticism over the years for setting unrealistic beauty standards, and this situation kind of feeds into that. When you look at Kris and she looks 20 years younger than she actually is, it creates this impossible standard for regular people who don't have access to the best surgeons and dermatologists in Beverly Hills. The family has pushed back on this criticism by saying they're just being honest about what they do, and that transparency is actually helpful because it lets people know that achieving that look requires professional help, not just good lighting and makeup. Kim herself has been accused of lying about her own procedures. For years, she denied having a nose job, even though side-by-side photos pretty clearly show her nose has changed shape. She's also been vague about whether she's had any work done on her face beyond Botox. In a 2021 interview, she said she'd never had filler in her lips or cheeks, which a lot of people found hard to believe. But she's been more open about body procedures, like the laser treatments she's had to remove her psoriasis, and the various skincare treatments she does regularly. So when Kim talks about Kris's procedures so casually, it could be her way of being more transparent than she's been about her own cosmetic work. Maybe she's testing the waters to see how the public reacts, or maybe she genuinely thinks that being open about these things helps normalize them. Either way, it's created this moment where people are talking about Kris's appearance again, which is probably not what Kris wanted. There's also the business angle to consider. The Kardashians have multiple beauty and skincare lines, and part of their marketing strategy is showing that their products work. But everyone knows that no amount of face cream is going to give you the results that Kris has. So when they're selling skincare products while also getting regular cosmetic procedures, there's this disconnect. They'll promote a serum on Instagram and talk about how it's transformed their skin, but they're also getting tens of thousands of dollars worth of professional treatments that do most of the heavy lifting. Kris has her own skincare line that she's teased launching for years, and there have been rumors that she's finally going to release it soon. If that's true, then having her daughter publicly discuss her plastic surgery right before a skincare launch is probably terrible timing. It undermines the message that skincare alone can make you look younger when everyone knows you're also getting surgical help. The relationship between Kim and Kris is obviously complicated. Kris is Kim's manager, so there's this professional dynamic on top of the mother-daughter relationship. Kim has said in interviews that Kris takes a percentage of everything she earns, which is standard for a manager but also kind of wild when it's your mom. They've had their conflicts over the years, mostly about business decisions, but they've always presented a united front publicly. This plastic surgery comment might be one of those rare moments where their interests didn't align, and it slipped out before Kris could stop it. Looking at Kris's recent appearances, it's pretty obvious she's had something done. At Kourtney's wedding to Travis Barker in Italy last year, people were commenting on how different Kris looked. Her face seemed tighter, her neck was smoother, and overall she looked noticeably more refreshed than she had even a few months earlier. Then, at the Met Gala this year, same thing. People were analyzing her photos, trying to figure out what she'd had done because the difference was pretty dramatic. The reality is that Kris probably gets touch-ups and maintenance procedures done constantly. It's not like she gets one big surgery and then that's it for 5 years. People at her level of wealth and with her level of concern about appearance are probably seeing their dermatologist or plastic surgeon monthly for various treatments. A little Botox here, some filler there, maybe a laser treatment to even out skin tone. It all adds up to this overall look that's really hard to achieve without professional help and a significant budget. What's kind of sad about all of this is the pressure that women, especially women in the public eye, feel to look young forever. Kris is almost 70 years old. She's had 6 kids. She's built an incredible career and helped launch her daughters into massive success. But there's still this expectation that she needs to look like she's 45, and she's clearly bought into that expectation, spending who knows how much money and time on maintaining her appearance. At the same time, you could argue that Kris is just doing what makes her happy. If having these procedures done makes her feel more confident and helps her feel like her best self, then who are we to judge? She's not hurting anyone. She has the money to spend on it, and she's been relatively honest about what she does. At least more honest than a lot of other celebrities her age who pretend they've just aged naturally. The double standard is also worth mentioning. Male celebrities who are in their 60s and 70s don't face nearly the same level of scrutiny about their appearance. Nobody's demanding that they get work done to stay relevant, and if they do get procedures, it's barely talked about. But women in entertainment are expected to look eternally youthful or face constant criticism about letting themselves go. Kris is navigating that impossible standard, and honestly, she's doing it pretty successfully if the goal is to stay visible and relevant in an industry that usually pushes older women aside. So where does this leave us? Kim made a comment about her mom's plastic surgery that Kris probably didn't want public. It sparked all this conversation about what procedures Kris has had done and whether the family is being hypocritical about beauty standards. But really, it's just another example of the Kardashians being slightly more transparent than most celebrities while still trying to control their narrative. They want credit for being honest without actually revealing everything. The truth is, we'll probably never know the full extent of what Kris has had done because she's not required to share that information with anyone. What we do know is that she looks significantly younger than her age, and that doesn't happen by accident. It takes money, time, access to the best doctors, and a willingness to undergo procedures that most people wouldn't want to deal with. Whether that's something to admire or something to be concerned about probably depends on your perspective. What do you think about Kim revealing her mom's procedures? Was she just giving a compliment? Or did she cross a line by sharing information Kris wanted to keep private? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into celebrity drama and beauty industry secrets, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Trust me, there's always more tea to spill.